here basically to benchmark. We want to look at the workshops. And the reason is what Professor said. In Uasin Gishu County, before devolution, when we just came in, we had about 36 VTCs. But the most unfortunate thing is that we had 36 VTCs with a total enrollment of less than 300. That means every VTC had actually about just 10 or slightly less than 10 students. And the first thing we did was to try and consolidate the resources we had. And in so doing, we reduced the number of VTCs from 36 to actually 11. Why? Because we wanted to manage costs. For the last 6 years, we have been on that path of improving our vocational training colleges and, of course, emphasizing the general population, particularly young people who have whether left school at standard 8 or below or after Form 4 and have not acquired any skill and are always busy looking for jobs that are nowhere to be found. And so we have invested in our 11 VTCs, and to date, I think the average population in our VTCs is about 250, 300 per VTC on the 11. And looking at how do we then upscale our numbers to 30 in line with the Tibeta Act to make sure we have a VTC in every ward. The college is actually not the structures. It is actually the workshop, the tools, plus the trainers, and then the trainees. Our target, at least in the next 5 years, is to have each and every VTC with a minimum enrollment of 1,000 students. When we work on that, looking at our county, which has a population of 1.163, and about 45% of that population is actually below 40 years. And the age between of that 45% of below 40 years, about 60-something% is actually the population of between 35 and below. So we are looking at the energy levels in the county, and we are saying, how do we channel this energy so that in the near future it becomes very useful to this country? And we thought if we could upscale our VTCs with proper equipment and trainers, then we should be able to produce skilled human resource that then can then fit into the overall national plan of industrialization and manufacturing, and also in the sector of affordable housing. I want to believe outside Nairobi, probably Uasin Gishu is the home of Tibet, being a county that hosts one national polytechnic. We have Rift Valley Technical Training Institute where Professor Soma is the chair, which is also a center of excellence for East Africa in terms of technical training. And we have additional 6 TTIs under the national program of establishing a TTI in every sub-county. And we are very fortunate because out of the 6 sub-counties we have in Uasin Gishu, already 4 are functional TTIs. Because in terms of career growth or skills growth with time, some of these people we are mentoring through VTCs and TTIs should find their way to universities to advance their knowledge, particularly in research. And so we'd also want them to establish workshops that will have a linkage so that when students leave my VTC to go to TTI or to the National Polytechnic, they should not arrive there and look like first years who are strangers in the house. Of why we are very passionate about skilling in Uasin Gishu County is to make a contribution to the nation in terms of retaining, the funds we borrow. Imagine if the trillion money we borrowed was actually expended through Kenyans. How much money would be circulating in the economy? And how many new other business centers or manufacturing plants or innovations would have come? If we had local contractors, you can imagine if a Kenyan contractor was given a contract of 14 billion. Assume that fellow was from somewhere here in Ruiru. The first thing we'll do is to build a building in Ruiru. You see, people will say, that guy owns that building. We should not look at the person owning the building. Look at the number of opportunities he has created for people who want to do business. Guys who cannot afford to build, but they can afford to rent and start a business. He will have left some money there and enabled others, to begin doing business. And those doing business will begin creating employment. He will have established his asphalt mix or concrete plant, which he is not going to demolish as soon as the contract leaves, because he's not going anywhere. He will retain it to do business for concrete and asphalt business and so forth. One of our contributions that we need to make is to try and build a very serious base of skills from VTC to mid-level to high level where research is required. Because we believe JKUAT is among the leaders when it comes to technology and engineering among the universities.